We'll get to the list of strengths and weaknesses. But for right now, we'll get into the actual film. One, nice and low in the stance, nice knee bend, eyes are low. I like the stance right off the jump. Patience in the feet off the snap, inching back instead of hopping back. The weight is not so much onto the heels. Very patient, waiting for the receiver to declare, not falling for the short shrouding foot firing that the receiver is doing with a slight release to the inside. Waits for him to declare to the outside. Isn't over aggressive with the hand and shooting them. One, if you shoot the outside hand right here, it's going to get chopped down. And typically, you shoot the outside hand, it actually locks your hips and makes it harder for you to turn. Patient offhand jam, offhand, lets him run into the right hand, gets that right hand onto the chest, stays attached to that receiver. Good rep right off the jump. And you'll see it throughout the review. He is much more comfortable in press. He stays attached pretty well. There's a lot of issues, as you guys already know, with playing the ball and being comfortable with the ball in the air, and whether, knowing whether to play the ball in through the receiver or just play the ball in general. There's some problems here. Now remember too, I recorded these like 3 months ago, so some stuff I will forget throughout this review. But nonetheless, number 21 right here again, he's going to mostly be playing the right side. Okay, so it looks like we have like a disguised cover three right here, where we have Hamilton drop into the box, and it's like a buzz. He takes middle third. He takes deep one third. He takes deep one third. And Stevens, he unfortunately blows his coverage. There are some mental lapses in his game. Matches the number one receiver on the in cut. There's a wheel behind it, and he blows a pretty simple coverage here. And obviously, if Stroud can see this, you're talking about an easy completion. He probably catches up to him and all that stuff, but mental lapse right off the jump from him. Does it continue a lot? I don't remember it being a huge problem in his game in terms of like mental lapses, but we'll see. The YouTube people who don't subscribe will not see. But if you pay $3, I think $3 a month for the YouTube subscription, you get the entire reviews. Stevens can get contact earlier, slip. Okay, top of your screen right here. And I don't love being 3 yards, three-ish yards off. No man's land to me. It's just it's too close to take like read steps and reads the quarterback drop, but it's also not close enough to really get your hands on or threaten your hands on. So I don't love it. I call it no man's land. It doesn't work out as much as you want it to. But with this one, and he doesn't even get beat badly there. The one thing I'm saying is, and it's not even at the start of it, because he's not going to get hands on because he's in that no man's land, right? But good stance, eyes are low, matches the receiver, gets a shuffle, another shuffle, patience in opening up, because a lot of receivers will take like a squirt release, take 3 steps to the outside, and then squirt underneath of them. So Stevens starts to open up, but he's not going to fully commit until Woods fully commits, right? So you can see the patience there, not getting into his full sprint, and then opens up with Woods. The problem is here though, a little bit. I'm not going to say lazy, but you do want to see him get his hands on here. You don't want to be playing a receiver with no hands on, because you can't feel breaks, you can't match breaks, you can't pull yourself to a break, slingshots, etc. So when he opens up right here, you do want to see him squeeze, get that hand on that that near hip, near shoulder, near rib cage, so you can feel that break, because now he's trying to match the break without really having a hand on him, and he slips out of that break. Which I do remember throughout this review, there is a tendency for Stevens to slip. Okay. Um, so Stevens over aggression, play ball bad. Okay. Top of your screen right here. We actually saw this from Sauce against Ramondre Stevens in the Pats game, the second Pats game. But a situation where he thinks he can get the pass deflection, but this is just a feel thing and timing thing, and knowing on the football field what you're capable of and how fast that ball is there, how strong CJ Stroud's arm is or not, etc. You got to be able to judge it well. Tries to play that ball, doesn't get there in time, doesn't, and obviously at this point, since he's going, balls out for that pass deflection, if he doesn't get it, Woods is going to be able to turn up the field and pick up a first down, and he does. So he's got to play it better than that. Sometimes you're going to get beat for, especially if you're playing off coverage. you're going to get beat sometimes for a 7, 8 yard, curl, stop, hitch, whatever. But you just got to rally and make the tackle. And the other thing, other little note I'll put in here too is I don't like the fact that he's playing that receiver blind. He's looking at the quarterback the entire time, but maybe he takes that extra half step, 2 steps to react to it because he's looking at Stroud instead of seeing the receiver breaking. If he sees the receiver break, maybe he doesn't delay there and he's there quicker. And then it is a pick. So I don't like the letting the receiver just break in your blind spot. Now, if you want to look at the receiver, or if you want to look at the quarterback, fine, but have the receiver in your peripheral vision. Do not let him break in your blind spot. Okay. Steven's miscommunication, but hit. Yeah, I think I remember. I remember this. Now looks like he got. I don't know if this is late in the game or whatever this is, or maybe late in the half where they just don't want them to score because they're playing three on top with man coverage underneath. And it looks like Stevens, after emotion, was supposed to, obviously take one of these receivers. He doesn't. He ends up out of position. But the thing that I wanted to note about this is like the size, right? Size, strength, 6'1", 215. Again, not in the spot he's supposed to be in. So there is some type of miscommunication or him just straight up blowing the defense. Obviously diagnoses and sees that Woods gets the ball, but the hit there is very nice. We like the physicality, we like the aggression, coming in with a full head of steam and laying out Woods. With that being said, is that a positive play or a negative play? The miscommunication, the blown defense is a negative. The hit is a positive, but still, I would mark that more negative than positive. Stevens press rep top again. Once you start getting guys in motion, once you start getting him in off coverage and asking guys to pass off and zone and bail and shuffle, he's just not as comfortable. When you have him like this in press coverage, this is where he thrives, and this is where he should be 75% of the time for the Jets. Right side of the defense playing in press coverage. 2 yards off here. A little bit under 2 yards. Yeah, about 2 yards off. Okay, we'll take it. Soft shoe coverage. The patience is really good there again. Matching the break. He slips a little bit, and again, that is one of his issues is slipping out of breaks. But in terms of the press, eyes low, 2 shuffles there. We got 1, 2, not leaning onto the heels, not being overzealous with the hands, offhand jam, right? Not locking the hips out, getting hands on the receiver. No, and it's a problem with a lot of just tall corners in general. They tend to be grabby and then fall a little bit out of breaks because he's 6'1". He's not 5'10", so he's not gonna have as much body control. He matches the break good enough where that have to be a pretty good ball to get there. But nonetheless, the press is pretty good with the shuffles, the eyes low, the weight mostly forward, the offhand jam, getting hands on. Don't want to see him slip out of that break, and I think part of it is he starts to reach for contact a little bit right there. See, he was reaching for contact, like here. Don't want to do that. You know, close distance with your feet and then get contact. You don't want to start reaching for it because when you're reaching for it, you're not as balanced, obviously, right? It's not groundbreaking. Stevens beat at top of route, get contact. Okay. So this review is not starting off good for Stevens. So let's be real here. I think it does get better. But you're talking about 5 or 6 of the first 7 plays not being good overall. Even the last one he slipped. So kind of like the other plays, you can't be lazy in terms of getting hands on and squeezing guys. Again, now I like the leverage. You're talking about the receiver pretty close to the sideline, so playing with inside leverage is a good idea. Use that sideline as your second defender. Patience gets the shuffling right off the jump, commits. Problem is here, why we're not getting hands on. Get hands on as early as we possibly can, because when we don't get hands on and they run a curl and you're not able to again, like slingshot yourself back into that, ends up slipping again. Size thing. Almost gets his hand in there, but doesn't. Would he have played that ball and maybe got a pass deflection or even an interception if he had hands on earlier in that route? Probably. Or maybe Stroud doesn't even throw it. But when you're matching a guy like that, obviously there's situations where you cannot get hands on because they're too they're too far away from you horizontally, or they're burning you vertically, and you have to stay more inside. In this situation, now we could have got a hand on. Get a hand on as early as you possibly can. Don't let them get an extra 4, 5, 6 yards. Don't let them get 1 yard extra without having your hands on. Okay. Pass interference on Chase. Again, not great. Maybe the first maybe the I don't know, the YouTube section people, if you are getting the first 8 plays, you're like, oh my God, this is just terrible. I do think he gets better. Again, recorded it 3 months ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I think it does. Nice stance and press versus Chase here. I think the patience at the line is yeah, that was more mutual. Yeah, that's kind of ticky tacky. I don't love that penalty to be honest. So I'm not going to kill Stevens on this one, but nice and low in the stance. Eyes, you can see at the hip, right? Eyes are low. Patient with his feet, gets a shuffling. Offhand jam lands into the shoulder. Now he starts to squeeze, gets hands on. Chase gets his arm on him and tries to throw him by him. And Stevens just matches, physicality with physicality here. And Chase slips out of the break. Like Chase is the one who initiates he initiates the throw by. He initiates the throw by and tries to throw him by and clear himself. Now, does he grab a little bit there? Yeah, but it's a little ticky tacky for me. It's like it's mutual hand fighting at the top. So is Chase just allowed to throw him by without Stevens grabbing onto him? I don't know. Um, Stevens versus Higgins fade play ball question mark. Okay, here we go versus Higgins on the bottom. Again, that soft show. Sometimes I do want to see him getting more aggressive press. You don't have to be aggressive, but threatening it. Okay. So, okay, not the best second view there, but patience at the line again. Kick step, shuffle, kick step. Higgins commits outside. He opens up, throws the offhand right there. Doesn't land, doesn't reach for contact. That's good. Matches him, gets hands on. Okay, so this is not a bad spot to play through the receiver to the ball, right? Like I'm okay with it. He's on top of him. He's squeezed to the sideline. You have hands on. The immediate thing I notice here is his eyes. Finding this ball, you you are taught where does the ball come from? By the time the ball is halfway there, it's coming high to low. You do not want to look low to high because again, the ball is coming down, right? This hand is the ball. When you're looking low to high, the ball's going to cross your plane and then you have to readjust to find it. You want to go high to high and then eventually they track together. You don't want to go opposite, you know. Almost like with like skeet shooting kind of like you don't want to I don't know. You kind of want to follow it and then lead it. But nonetheless, yeah, you gotta look high to low there. So that's the first issue I notice. And he's not able to find it. He sees the hands and just plays through the hands. Right? Plays through the hands. The problem is he doesn't rip the ball out. He just kind of smack Higgins in the face. If anything here, when you're playing through the hands, if Higgins is extended and you're through him, you don't want to hit him in the face because then what's the point? He can just grab the ball. If anything, if your hand is inside, you want to pull it out. You want to let him catch that ball or get his hands on that ball and pull it out. You don't want to just hit him in the face. So he definitely panics a little bit with the ball in the air. That is undoubtable. One, you got to track it better, and two, play it through the hands better. Now, it's not even a completion. It's not even a completion. So in terms of like, okay, he contested it. He didn't allow the reception. Good, but a little bit bad too, obviously. Beaten red zone by Chase reaching for contact. Okay, top of your screen. Now I do like, okay, opposite hash. Um, the thing is, Chase is such a good route runner. He's so good. Get on him. Get on him and only